Good morning, everyone. The time is 10 o'clock. I'm officially convening this meeting. Welcome to those who are here and listening online. We are convening the State Canvassing Board for the 2026 primary election. I will note for the record that all members of the State Canvassing Board are present. Governor Gordon is present, State Auditor Racinas is present, as well as State Treasurer Meyer, who is with us on Zoom, and myself, Secretary of State. Treasurer Meyer, could you just confirm yourself over Zoom there?
Yeah, I'm here. Do you see me?
No, I can't see you. Any chance you could turn on your video?
Okay. Let me get down to the bottom here. Okay, now you can see and hear me, right?
Here we go.
Okay.
Thank you, Treasurer Meyer. Pursuant to Wyoming State statute, the State Canvassing Board shall meet no later than the second Wednesday following the election. The board shall review the state abstracts prepared by the Secretary of State's office, resolve any tie votes, and certify the abstract as the official state canvass. This meeting is being live streamed on the Wyoming Secretary of State's YouTube page. Also want to note the membership of the board, which is laid out in Wyoming state law. It is the Secretary of State, the governor, the treasurer, and the auditor. So there are 4 members of the state canvassing board, a little different from some of the slip board and the State Board of Land Commissioners. Everyone here is present that is a member of the board. The state abstract will indicate by county the number of ballots cast by political party, if known, the total number of votes cast for each candidate, the names of all write-ins receiving a sufficient number of votes to affect the results of the election, and the number of votes for each and the number of votes received for each ballot proposition. Before we dive into the summary of the canvassing matters, I want to take this opportunity to say this was an election which deployed numerous new safeguards in Wyoming law, including the first election where proof of citizenship and proof of residency requirements for voter registration were in effect, enhanced voter list maintenance procedures, and this is now the third election cycle where we've had voter ID, and other election safeguards that were made possible through collaboration between our office, the Wyoming legislature, the county clerks, and other key stakeholders. I want to take this opportunity to thank the county clerks, election judges, poll watchers, and other volunteers. I also want to thank Wyomingites for voting, a crucial part of our republic. Now, in terms of the procedure for public comment, we're going to have public comment after the presentation of the statewide abstract, then after the write-in abstract is presented, and then at the conclusion of the meeting as well. Our elections director, Paul Raines, is now going to go into a few of the issues we encountered across the election cycle and present the statewide abstract. Director Raines is joined by Frank Apollo, our assistant director, as well as our lead deputy in the Secretary of State's office, Colin Crossman. One thing I want to note is we have a staff of 3 in our elections division, and they worked really hard along with a lot of cross-divisional help within our office, which I think Director Raines is also going to note. Director Raines, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you unless there are any questions or comments by members of the board.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I did read that 637 pages, and just in case I have a technical issue and lose contact with you, I wanted to make it known that I do support the outcome of the abstract, and if we lose anything, know that I was an I vote. Thank you.
Okay, well, we want to make sure to follow the procedure on that.
Yeah.
Please stay on, and also, we need to carry out that procedure regarding affixing your signature as well, like we did at the conclusion of the meeting in 2024 when you were remote. But thank you. Mr. Raines, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, State Canvassing Board, and thank you for your time today. For the record, my name is Paul Raines, and I'm the Director of the Elections Division at the Wyoming Secretary of State's office. I'm joined today by Frank Apollo on my right, my Assistant Director of Elections, and Deputy Secretary of State Colin Crossman to my left. This meeting is being streamed live on the Secretary of State's YouTube channel, so members of the public may observe. Members of the public may also participate in public comment in person or via Zoom by registering with the link provided in the meeting notice. The Elections Division was supported by other divisions within the Secretary of State's office. I would like to ask that everyone from the Secretary of State's office that was involved in this incredible task to stand and be recognized for your great efforts and service to the people of Wyoming. I would also like to recognize the efforts of the 23 county clerks, their staff, and their election judges who worked hard to make this primary election a success.
Well, and Director Rains, we have one here. So Clerk Lee, if you could stand, thank you. Thank you. Or Deputy Michaela, thank you.
And lastly, a thank you to the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security, the Wyoming Highway Patrol Division O, and many other partners that worked with us to support this election. If anyone that I just listed is present in the room, please stand and so we can recognize you. Either way, give them a round of applause. All right, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I'd like to first give some preliminary information and a brief overview of the conduct of the election, which will not require any action from the board. We're excited to have conducted a successful primary election for the citizens of the great state of Wyoming. In years past, our office provided staff to assist counties if any need arose. When issues occurred, we worked quickly with the resources available to handle each situation in an appropriate and professional manner. Regarding the public testing of voting equipment, all 23 county clerks completed and certified the testing of voting equipment for use in the 2026 primary election with our office. There were public concerns raised regarding voting equipment utilized by Wyoming counties, including concerns regarding ballot-on-demand printers, USB formatting equipment utilized by counties. There were also concerns with systems being updated to the newest antivirus software and continued support for Windows 10 utilized by Wyoming equipment. We take these concerns seriously and communicated these to the vendor that supplies the counties with voting equipment, election systems and software, as well as the United States Elections Assistance Commission. Upon outreach to the EAC and ES&S, they provided us information addressing these concerns, and our office is happy to provide this information to anyone with concerns. There were a few issues that were encountered on election day, which were resolved by the respective county clerks prior to and during the county canvass, but should be noted by the State Canvassing Board. These two issues do not require any action from this board. In Goshen County, there was a printer issue involving their double-sided ballot. While printing, the printer pulled two pieces of paper in at the same time, resulting in side A of the ballot being printed on one piece of paper and side B of the ballot being printed on another piece. The issue only impacted a few ballots out of the batches supplied by the print shop. The following day, after the election, the county clerk conducted a countywide recount with the canvassing board, during which a review of all ballots was conducted. This review by the county clerk and the canvassing board determined that none of the misprinted ballots were issued to voters. In Weston County, in Precinct 5-1, for the Republican Precinct Committee man race, the ballot was designed and the machine was programmed to be a vote for one. This race is supposed to be a vote for two, where the candidates' names appearing on the ballot followed by two write-in lines. There was only one write-in line, and because it was programmed for one, any additional votes were counted as overvotes. The county clerk and the canvassing board were able to resolve the issue through the post-election audit and the county canvassing board. This is noted in the post-election audit as provided by the county clerk. But because it was addressed by the county canvassing board and is not a race, which is certified by our office under Wyoming law, it is noted here for informational purposes only.
Director Rains, one thing on that. So just if you could clarify and just confirm this, my understanding, it's a county canvassing board certified race. It does not come to the state canvassing board because it was a precinct committee man race.
That is correct. It was noted by the county clerk in their post-election audit. And so that's one of the reasons why it was being brought before the state canvassing board.
Okay. Well, and definitely we want full information, but just to note, it is not one of the races to be considered before the board today for certification pursuant to Wyoming state law. The county canvassing board has the authority over that race.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These examples highlight that when issues arise, our office and the county clerks are committed to addressing them. There are contingency plans in place for election incidents, trainings, and exercises throughout the year to prepare our staff for difficult situations. Lastly, staff at every level of government were standing by on election day to assist wherever needed. I'll now move on to candidate participation. There were 86 races on each party ballot, 2 federal, 5 statewide, and 79 legislative races. Although many races had no Democratic candidate on the ballot, we did have 3 potential successful Democratic write-in nominations and 1 potential Republican write-in for the board's review today. There were a total of 198 candidates, 18 federal, 18 statewide, 37 for the state Senate, and 125 for the state House in the primary election. Moving on to voter statistics, you will see Wyoming's turnout for the 2026 primary election. For this election, we had a turnout of 59%, with 150,385 Wyomingites voting in this primary. I would also note that the registered voters recorded the day prior to the primary election at 273,705 out of the 461,419 voting age population, based on estimates from the Wyoming Economic Analysis Division of the Department of Administration and Information, which gives us a 32.6% of the voting age population turning out to vote. Additional information and comparison to past elections can be found in your summary packet and are posted online. I would now like to turn to the post-election audit, which was conducted in all 23 counties pursuant to Wyoming Statute 2216-130. In accordance with 22-6-130, all counties are required to complete an audit of a statistically significant sample of contests using the statistical model developed by the University of Wyoming Department of Mathematics and Statistics. In order to facilitate compliance with Wyoming Statute 22-6-130, and because of the county clerk's decision to utilize post-election audit procedures used in previous election cycles, the Secretary of State's office assisted the counties with the execution of the audit per the UW model that was provided by the university previously. The University of Wyoming's statutory formula identifies the race with the closest margin of observable difference to determine a sample size of races on the ballot to audit that would be statistically significant. The counties reported no findings or observation from the audit conducted of the ballots this year for races specified to be audited pursuant to Wyoming law and the clerk's discretion to audit legislative races, which include statewide and legislative races. I will note, as discussed previously, that an issue was flagged in a precinct committeeman race in Weston County, which was later addressed by the Weston County Canvassing Board. Precinct races are not certified to the Wyoming Secretary of State's office or certified by this board and are thus not presented here. There is information in regards to this audit in your summary packet, and we can turn to the summary packet at this time. This packet draws out the key components for this overview as it relates to the statutes pertaining to the canvassing board, post-election audit, voter turnout, as well as additional supportive information.
At this time, let's go ahead and provide an opportunity. Any comments or questions by anybody on the board?
Mr. Raines, I thank you, Mr. Secretary. I did get a call from Johnson County from a couple of senior citizens who were disappointed that they weren't able to register. And my concern isn't that whether that was appropriate or not. And I think we passed the laws. My concern is, do we have mechanisms to assist senior citizens who are having difficulty registering to vote?
with any voter who registers election day, or if they are registered and they don't have the appropriate voter identification with them, there is the provisional ballot procedures where they can be issued a provisional ballot, and then they have until close of business the day after the election to go into the county clerk's office and provide the missing documentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we would note, please, anytime there's an issue, please contact our office, the Secretary of State's office, or the local county clerk or the local county clerk on registration questions and issues. Any questions or concerns, Auditor? All right, with that, we'll proceed into recounts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the next page of your packets, you will see the statutes pertaining to recounts in accordance with Wyoming Statutes 22-16-109. There was one mandatory recount in House District 52, where the difference in votes was less than 1%. In House District 52, which spans Campbell County, there was a mandatory recount between Rhonda Buller at 914 votes and Bill Fortner at 906. These recounts were conducted by the Campbell County Clerk. Following the recount, there was no change, with the winner being Rhonda Buller as the House District 52 Republican nominee by 8 votes. In House District 38 in Natrona County, there's a recount performed by the Natrona County Clerk's Office following the submission of an affidavit pursuant to Wyoming Statute 22-16-110. This recount did not change the results of the election for House District 38. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to walk the board through the 2026 statewide primary election abstract, then allow for public comment before any motions from the member of the board.
Yeah.
Unless there are any
See if there's
additional
any
questions.
comments or questions. Any comments or questions, Governor? Comments or questions? Go ahead and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The statewide abstract was verified, compared, reconciled, and audited. The first section begins with the total ballots cast data. The first page is the total ballots cast statewide, which is broken down by county and by party, with the totals at the bottom. Following the statewide total ballots cast is each county's total ballots cast, which is broken down by precinct and by party, with the totals at the bottom. If you look at each county's total, which is again broken down by precinct, you will see that the total ballots cast will reconcile with the statewide ballots cast for that county. The next section is the statewide candidate summary. Each race is broken down by county and by party. The first race will be for United States Senate, with the Republican nominee being Harriet Hageman and the Democratic nominee being James Byrd. The second race will be U.S. Representative, with the Republican nominee being Chuck Gray and the Democratic nominee being Lisa Kinney. The third race will be Governor, with the Republican nominee being Eric Barlow and the Democratic nominee being Kenneth R. Kasner. The fourth race will be Secretary of State, with the Republican nominee being Robert Short and the Democratic nominee being Brian McCarty. The fifth race will be State Auditor, with the Republican nominee being Christy Racines, who ran unopposed. No Democratic candidate filed for this race. The sixth race will be State Treasurer, with the Republican nominee being Kurt Meyer, and no Democratic candidate filed for this race. The seventh and final statewide race will be Superintendent of Public Instruction, with the Republican nominee being Steve Harshman, and the Democratic nominee being Anna Cordova. The next section will be the statewide summary of the 17 Senate races on the ballot, broken down by county and party, with the totals at the bottom. This includes all odd-numbered Senate districts, with the addition of Senate District 6 to fill the remainder of an unexpired term. The next section is the statewide summary of the 62 House races, which is the largest section, again, broken down by county and by party, with the totals at the bottom. The next section is the precinct by precinct results, organized by county and party, with the totals at the bottom. The final section is write-ins, which I will present here shortly, unless, Mr. Chairman, there are any questions or remarks from the members of the board and with public comment.
Mr. Raines, can you confirm that completes the presentation of the statewide abstract?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that
Okay.
concludes the presentation for the statewide abstract.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Raines. So first, we're going to have comments, questions from the board, then we're going to have public comment, and then we'll consider any motions. So questions, comments, considerations, the governor, auditor, any from the treasurer?
None.
Okay, we will now proceed to public comment. Any in the room? Any public comment in the room? Anybody wish to have public comment in the room? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Now we'll proceed into the Zoom waiting room. If you wish to comment, please raise your hand. You have a comment, Governor?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, if you wish to comment, please raise your hand. We'll just wait a moment. You're not seeing any hands raised? Okay. And they can unmute if they want to comment, right? If anyone wants to comment and you can't raise your hand, just go ahead and unmute at this point. Just go ahead and open it up. Okay. Well, we have no hands raised, nobody unmuting, correct, Mr. Fafi? Okay. Well, public comment will be closed going once, going twice, going 3 times. Mr. Fafi, confirm there's no hands or no comment? Okay. Well, now we've completed public comment. Is there any motions before us?
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would recommend the board take action on certifying the statewide abstract as the official state canvas.
Mr. Secretary, I would move to certify the statewide abstract as the official state canvas.
Do we have a second?
Second.
That motion has been moved by Governor Gordon and seconded by Auditor Racinas. We are going to go ahead and have a roll call vote on that motion. But first, if there are any comments, questions, amendments, any comments, questions, amendments, Governor, Auditor, Treasurer, okay. Any comments? Okay, we will proceed now to the vote, which will be a roll call. Governor Gordon,
Aye.
Auditor Racinas,
Aye.
Treasurer Meyer,
Aye.
and I, Chuck Gray, Secretary of State, am an aye. With that, the motion passes unanimously 4-0. So the motion to certify the statewide abstract has passed unanimously 4-0. This time, we will now proceed to the write-in abstract. And Mr. Raines, I will go ahead and turn it back over to you for the presentation of the write-in abstract.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The final section is the write-in results. Wyoming Statute 22-5215 provides that a write-in candidate shall not be nominated and shall not be entitled to have his name printed on the ballot for the next general election unless he has received at least 25 write-in votes in the primary election and is a registered voter in the political party for which he was nominated on the day of the primary election. The statewide write-in results, as reported by the county clerks for the Democratic write-ins for state treasurer and state auditor, appear for your review. However, there were no successful statewide write-ins. Next, the legislative write-in summaries is composed of 20 pages. This is organized by Senate districts in order and then by House districts in order. The remaining action items on the agenda is to certify the statewide write-in abstract and to offer the nominations to 4 write-in candidates. 1 for Ralph Nieder Westerman with 29 write-in votes for House District 26. 1 for Larry Alwyn with 51 write-in votes for House District 28. 1 for Justin Morgan with 41 write-in votes for House District 33. And 1 for Susan E. Schmid with 25 write-in votes, which is sufficient under Wyoming law. I will highlight for the board's review additional write-ins in that race for Susan Schmid and Schmid as well. 3 out of the 4 nominations were for the Democratic Party. Justin Morgan in House District 33 is the lone write-in for the Republican Party. We have verified these individuals meet the statutory requirements to be offered the nomination as write-in candidates. And Mr. Chairman, at this time, I will hand it back to you for public comment and any questions.
Thank you, Director Rains. So at this time, we'll go ahead and take any questions, concerns, comments from members of the board. Governor, any? Any auditor?
No.
Okay. Treasurer, any questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Okay. We'll go ahead and proceed to public comment in the room first. Anybody in the room wish to have public comments? Not seeing anybody. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, we will proceed to the Zoom waiting room. If you would like to engage in public comment, please raise your hand or just go ahead and unmute if there are any issues with that. Please raise your hand. We'll provide a couple moments to make sure people are able to do that. Please raise your hand in the Zoom waiting room. Mr. Fafi, you're seeing any? Okay. I want to provide an opportunity if anyone would just like to unmute, go ahead and do that. Okay. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. So that is public comment on the statewide write-in abstract. Turning it back over to Director Rains.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would recommend the board take action and consider certifying the statewide write-in abstract as the official write-in canvas and to offer the write-in nomination to Ralph Nieder Westerman, Democratic candidate for House District 26, Larry Alwyn, Democratic candidate for House District 28, Justin Morgan, Republican candidate for House District 33, and Susan E. Schmid, Democratic candidate for House District 48.
Thank you, Director Rains. Governor?
Happy to make the motion to certify the statewide write-in abstract and the legislative write-in abstract as the official write-in canvas and to offer write-in nominations to Ralph Nieder Westerman, Democratic candidate for House District 26, Larry Alwyn, Democratic candidate for House District 28, Justin Morgan, Republican candidate for House District 33, and Susan E. Schmidt, Democratic candidate for House District 48.
The motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The motion has been made by Governor Gordon and has been seconded by Treasurer Meyer. Any comments, amendments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Auditor.
Just out of curiosity, how does the office go about tracking these people down and what deadline do they have to accept or decline the nomination?
Yeah, Director Rains, if you could answer that. Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, Madam Auditor, so the process after the State Canvassing Board has concluded, our office notifies the write-in candidates. From 5 days of attempted delivery of the notice, the countdown of 5 days starts for the candidates to then file with our office, and then their name will appear on the general election ballot with the correct party affiliation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Rains. Any other amendments, comments, questions before we proceed to the vote? Sensing the will of the board to vote. Anything further, Auditor? Thank you. We will now proceed to a recorded vote on the motion, which was made by Governor Gordon, and seconded by Treasurer Meyer. Governor Gordon.
Aye. Aye.
Auditor Racinas.
Aye.
Treasurer Meyer.
Aye.
And I, Secretary of State Chuck Gray, am an aye. The motion has passed unanimously 4-0. Okay, so that is the statewide write-in abstract, which is passed unanimously now 4-0. We will now proceed to further public comment pursuant to our agenda. First, we will go in the room. Any public comment? Anyone wishing to engage in public comment in the room? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Now we will proceed to the Zoom waiting room. If you would like to have public comment, provide a public comment, please raise your hand or go ahead and just unmute, but go ahead and raise your hand. We'll provide for that procedure. Provide a moment here to Okay, great. Clerk Malcolm Irvin has raised his hand. Go ahead and let him into the meeting. And Clerk Irvin would like to recognize you. Thanks for all your work, Clerk Irvin. Thank you.
But, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make sure that you knew this thing was working. And really, I just wanted to take a minute to thank you and your staff and the entire canvassing board for all of their kind words and praise of county clerks. And it's a long, arduous process. You know, we begin preparing in January for an election cycle, and we appreciate the support your office provides to us every day in that endeavor. And that's really all I have, unless there's any questions for county clerks.
Well, thank you, Clerk Irvin. Any questions, Governor, Auditor, Treasurer? And let's go ahead and give another round of applause. Really appreciate it. Thank you. County clerks, thank you. Okay, we are proceeding back into public comment from the Zoom waiting room. If anyone has any public comment, please raise your hands, your Zoom hand. Governor Gordon, were you hoping to make a comment?
Yeah, once you go finish.
Okay.
Go finish on that.
No raised hands. Want to provide again if somebody just wants to go ahead and unmute and make a comment. If anyone would like to make a comment, please just go ahead and unmute. All right, not seeing that. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Now we are proceeding to further discussion by the canvassing board. Governor, would you like to make a comment?
Yeah, thanks. First off, thanks to the staff, thanks to the clerks. Mr. Raines, I was made aware on the morning of the 18th that the Justice Department had sent observers to polling places in Laramie County. Were you aware of that prior to Thursday morning?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Governor, our office had received an email, but that's the extent of the communications I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, the reason I mentioned that in talking with Lynn Budd, the Director of Homeland Security, who in the primary election document here, you're the co-host of that, she was unaware of it. Attorney General was unaware of it. Clerk, I think in the back of the room, was completely unaware of it. To my knowledge, the U.S. Attorney was unaware of it. And it sounded like the behavior of the observers was a bit aggressive. And I'm not putting you on the spot at all. It just was irregular. And I have asked the Attorney General to start looking into, kind of the nature of the visits and all that sort of stuff. So, Mr. Secretary, I just
Well,
wanted to
thank
let
you,
that-
Governor. Your comments appear to contradict a news story that the U.S. Attorney was aware and was working with the election observers. So I will note that Wyoming state law provides for observation of the election process, and certainly happy to visit with the Attorney General on that. Transparency is so important, and accountability, and Wyoming election law does provide for observation by the public of the election process. So happy to engage in that. Certainly would have liked to have visited with you, and continue to want to visit with you. But I will note that in a news article that the U.S. Attorney acknowledged that they were working with the election observers. So
Yeah. And Mr. Secretary, just, to be clear, I don't think anybody was objecting to the observers. I think it was when they were asserting that they were monitors. And the particular statutes that they spoke to were about Americans with Disabilities Act and civil rights actions. And their behavior seemed to exceed what the authority that Congress had given them was. But that's why I'm asking the U.S., or I mean, not the U.S. Attorney, I'll talk to him too, but our Attorney General, just to sort of examine that. I'm not saying that anything went wrong or anything else, and I certainly think the conduct of this election was phenomenal. I just want to make sure, I feel very strongly about federal government coming in and taking our guns. I don't like that, and I don't like the federal government coming in and taking our votes either.
thank you, Governor, and do want to note as well, in addition to federal law and the U.S. Constitution, there's also Wyoming state law, which provides for observation of the election. And so I think it's very important also for the Wyoming Attorney General to examine those statutes. Thank you, Governor, for those comments. I think that at this time, we also have this procedure to carry out with the treasurer. This is a little bit different from a SLIB or State Board of Land Commissioner board. Wyoming state law provides for minutes of this to be signed by the board, and that's a very important part of this process. And so, Mr. Peters, if you could lay out, we had to come up for a moment. Maybe if Mr. Paulo, if you could just want to confirm this process, which the Attorney General's office laid out, which we also conducted in the primary of 2024 with the treasurer confirming how he would like to have his signature affixed to the minutes, which currently Mr. Rubino, our counsel, are preparing in our office. So Mr. Peters, do you want to lay out that process?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the State Canvassing Board, Jim Peters at the Attorney General's office. Happy to chime in on this. Since we, as you noted, the statute does require the members to affix their signature on the minutes, and with Mr. Treasurer being attending virtually, we have discussed the ability for him to designate to another member of his office, to the Deputy State Treasurer, the ability to affix his signature on those minutes. And I believe that is a process that occurred in 2024 and would also be the process that I understand is intended to happen for these State Canvassing Board minutes. So really, the statute authorizes, it's Wyoming Statute 9-1-101C, which authorizes a state treasurer and other elected officials to appoint a deputy to perform acts of the office. And so affixing a signature is certainly one of the acts of his office. And so there's no prohibition on the treasurer delegating that to the deputy treasurer.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Peters. And Mr. Williams laid out Treasurer Meyer, us also doing the procedure we did in 2024, which we discussed earlier this week, which was you laying out verbally who you were authorizing to affix your signature. So Treasurer Meyer, if you could do that at this time.
Certainly, I'm authorizing Don Williams, my deputy, to affix a signature to the appropriate documents.
Thank you, Treasurer. And Mr. Peters, is that adequate?
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any further comments? I know the governor had a few comments. Auditor, Treasurer, any comments? Treasurer Meyer, do you have any comments?
No, I think all in all, I think it was a interesting election, and the outcomes were interesting, and the people have spoken with their vote, and we follow the rule of a law, and we follow the people of Wyoming, and we'll try to endeavor to affect a better future for Wyoming and all of its citizens.
Thank you, Treasurer. With that, I'll go ahead and make a couple comments. One, again, this procedure in state law for our signatures to be affixed to the minutes. I would ask that the members of the board, as well as Treasurer Myers' designee, please remain here after we adjourn. Mr. Rubino, our general counsel, is preparing the minutes as we speak. We'll go ahead and complete that, and then we'll bring them down per our procedure in 2024 to go ahead and affix our signature to the minutes. Also want to note the auditor asked this question, and she's always, Auditor Racina's always got that attention to detail, which is great. Do want to note here, our office will be contacting write-in candidates to offer them respective nominations pursuant to law. And also our office will be providing certificates to successful candidates, again, pursuant to Wyoming law. As we move toward the 2026 general election, we will continue to adhere to the law and continue to work to improve our elections. Again, after adjournment, we're going to prepare, complete preparing the minutes pursuant to Wyoming state law. So please remain here for that. With that, I will go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Motion has been made by the governor and seconded by Auditor Racines. Just for consistency's sake, let's go through the roll call. Any comments, questions? Okay, proceeding through the roll call. Governor Gordon,
Aye.
Auditor Racines,
Aye.
Treasurer Meyer,
Aye.
and I am also an aye. Motion passes 4-0, and the meeting has been adjourned. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's try to get out of this one. Let's try to get out of this one.